Introspection 9. The color of ink is black. The color of ink is black. Black is in the darkest color. It's achromatic, a color that is hueless, like white, its opposing color, or gray, it's in between. The color black is often used symbolically and literally for darkness, but it commands solemnity, authority, and elegance. I had often made comparisons of these figurative and metaphoric ideas with the color of my skin, dark milk chocolate, but in America I'm referred to as being black, and with my passion of rap and hip-hop. The color black and darkness go hand in hand. It's sort of like PB&J, ham and cheese, sugar and Kool-Aid. With the idea of darkness and being draped in it, the sense of dread grows stronger. Does being black bring with it a malicious intent, a feeling of foreboding, a dark aggression? I think about this concept often, as a black man in America is portrayed as hostile to themselves and to their environment. I have this sense of dread and it grows. I'm afraid my internal aggression, which is fueled by my desire to break free from this burden of my current life, will grow to a size that my body can't contain, and I'll release it in destructive ways. I use hip-hop and rap as a way to keep my aggression in check, and I think very often of how much power the voice and sound contain, and how I can promote either life or death with words alone. The color black commands solemnity and authority. I think of myself and my demeanor, which is often imposing, stoic, and demanding attention, but maybe it's a self-confidence I have in myself to handle and control situations effectively. Maybe it's the fear that I won't appear strong. Maybe it's my desire to be a leader. I don't know what it is. It could be a combination of all three. The color black commands solemnity and authority. I picture Ella Baker, Fannie Lou Hamer, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Barack Obama, Tupac, Biggie, Kendrick, J. Cole, Jay-Z. The list goes on. I picture prominent black leaders, all with an air of leadership around them. The color black commands solemnity and authority. I know of cops and judges wearing black to enforce law. Judges given power because of the position they hold while sporting gavel and black court dress, with the ability to give people time, but literally taking it away. I know of cops in black uniform shooting blacks in cold blood because they have the power to carry firearms and not receive the so-called justice they dish out. The color black commands solemnity and authority. The color black is elegance. The color black is style. Gianni Versace once said black is quintessence of simplicity and elegance. French designer Yves Saint Laurent once said black is the liaison that connects art and fashion. The Black Power movement popularized the phrase, black is beautiful. I think of how hip-hop and rap music has influenced culture from a style point of view. From Run DMC and Adidas to Tupac and Biggie sporting Versace and the resurgence of Versace thanks to the Migos, to rappers sporting Jordans and Gucci with an overall drive to look the freshest. Hip-hop culture has this innate ability to rise obscure brands or styles to the forefront of fashion. When I was young, my older sister always made my nephew and I get our hair cut, low, even all over. The haircut with clippers, but it always stung me more than the alcohol to the shape-up. My sister always said, you can choose your own hairstyle when you pay for it. But it was also her decision because she was our parent. Do what I say, boy, she told us often. I used to get haircuts long after becoming an adult, but it never felt like me. It wasn't until the last 2 years of my life where I started to grow my hair out, and honestly, my nappy-headed hair is one of my most self-defining traits. Partly dreaded via twist, partly afro, 100% Taheed, and I've never felt better. The point I'm trying to make is style breeds individuality. Black is style. Black is elegance. Why bring up all these traits to the color black? Because the color black has a deep meaning where I barely scratch the surface with only a few words. Darkness, solemnity, authority, and elegance. These grand but broad themes can all be tied into hip hop culture, black culture, and the color black. The color of ink is black. The black ink offers the greatest contrast to white pages. Therefore, the black ink is the easiest to read. I constantly run this thought through my mind. Books, without written or printed text, are nothing more than Kindle. Books are feared, not only because of the info they can contain, but because of the power they can give the reader, freedom. I think often about how it was illegal for slaves to be literate, and the idea of illiteracy extended for decades post-American Civil War. How white Southerners tried their hardest to keep the black populace under wraps from gaining power by preventing them from voting, by having literacy tests. A grim reality in the southern U.S. up until the civil rights movement in the 60s. I value the black ink, for the black ink does not understand its worth until it is given form. It does not understand its importance in the spread of knowledge. The black ink gives the book purpose, the transition from Kindle to that of power, from knowledge and wisdom. I recently read a book titled Losing My Cool by Thomas Chatterton Williams. The book is treated as a memoir about Williams' upbringing being half black and being exposed to hip-hop. He talks of how hip-hop shaped his world and his perspective of himself, and how it also shaped the way his friends viewed themselves. Their point of views focused mostly on the negatives of hip-hop. And because of this, William found his world was limited. He talks about his father, a very scholarly man, passing on his love of literature to him, and how the books he once disregarded began to expand his world past the horizons of what hip-hop explored. This book helped me shape my idea for The Color of Ink is Black, Introspection 9. Actually, this essay is in a way a response to the book as a whole. I drew one major criticism about the book regarding the fact that Williams only presented the negative messages of hip-hop. What about the good messages? Not all hip-hop is about gangbanging, money, and fucking bitches. I thought about this criticism deeply, but I paid attention to the fact that Williams was raised in a different era than I, and the hip-hop he listened to is vastly different than the hip-hop of today. For me, hip-hop has added nothing but positives. I think fondly of Lauryn Hill's LP, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, an album about love, both conditional and unconditional. This record has a special place in my heart because I remember it in depth after being exposed to it at a young age because of my older sister. Nene, I love you. I think about Kendrick Lamar's records, Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly. Both records being almost instant classics because of the messages presented, with Good Kid, Mad City being about Kendrick's adolescence in Compton and how his innocence was tested, living in a city that constantly pushed him to the edge. 2, To Pimp a Butterfly, a record about self-love and black empowerment. I think about J. Cole's ×2 Platinum with no features LP 2014 Forest Hills Drive, with its message that dreams can come true even if you have humble beginnings. Another record that I held deep within my heart because I come from humble beginnings also, coming out of Philly. These LPs have shaped the way of my thinking, but are also hip-hop. Would they have shaped Williams' perspective if he grew up in the same era as I contemplate. I return to the idea that the color of ink is black. The black ink gives the book purpose, allowing the spread of wisdom and knowledge. I think about the spread of hip-hop and black culture. They are one and the same. Hip-hop is growing in popularity. A genre of music that isn't even 50 years old yet is starting to be present on a world stage. The spread of black culture is becoming more evident. Hip-hop's influence has depth with powerful messages depending on the artist and how they present their art. I take this into account every time I go to make a track. Do it with the intention of spreading a message to make people more wise than they were. I pray that by the end of my musical and hip-hop career, people who have heard my music say Tahit Stevens gave me an inspiration and a wisdom I didn't even know I needed. I'm adding my own words to the pages to tell my story. And in this book, the color of ink is black.